Right, hello everyone. Welcome to Orobox, Ora here. And in today's video, we will be going over the logs again for this raiding week. And kind of talking about the improvements that I need to make. We are in a position now where the guild is public logging heroic. I won't go into too much depth though, but I will show you my current best average performances and my kill times for my latest fights, and we'll discuss the little bits and pieces that I need to practice on going forward as the guild progresses into Mythic, because the guild is now 4 out of 10 Mythic and I am 3 out of 10 Mythic as my Paladin. Unfortunately, Remnant of Nazul isn't a very Paladin friendly fight, a lot of mobility required, so I sat the bench for progress, but I'm sure to be in for the kill next week, I believe, which will be nice, because I was in for a couple of progress attempts, but I wasn't there on the kill. So let's get into the bulk of it. I do also have a question for you guys at the end of this video, so please comment and stuff when we get to that stage. So swapping to the main screen then, we can now see my average performance logs. Not too bad, an average performance of 76. This was higher earlier in the week, but obviously as more people are getting kills this week, the performance has dropped. Now, the main thing to bear in mind, and we'll zoom in hopefully for this, is specifically the kills and the kill times. There we are, fastest. Here we go. So, kill times. Now, this is the big part of why some particular fights like Guardian of the First Ones and Remnant of Nazul, interestingly enough, are so different. As everyone gets more gear, and as the fights get faster and faster, there are going to be points where you need to learn how to maximize what will be essentially your one wing's use. And going forward, we will have to work out when it is best to use that in relation to when your guild is lusting. Because a good example would be Painsmith. Painsmith is a 4-minute 30 fight-ish. The problem being is you have 2 relatively large intermission phases in the middle of that, when he hits 70 and 40% health. He'll just disappear, at which point your DPS is dropping, so you need to maximize as much damage as you can with relatively short, or without always having wings available. So it's whether or not it's going to be going forward, at least for me, whether or not for Painsmith next week perhaps, I actually save my wings after my first usage until we bloodlust at 40%, which means it's just going to sit there off cooldown. But something like Remnant of Nazul, where you're bloodlusting on pull, what you can actually do, and what I did, is I specifically used IQD. And the reason I used IQD over, say, a 1-minute trinket, like the PvP one, is because you get a lot, your wings burst is considerably larger, and it's maximizing that to the point where I am now achieving almost 30k burst windows as a Ret Paladin. That's 30,000 damage per second, so 30k DPS. Now, I do have a couple of clips of me achieving that burst, and a little bit higher as well, which you can see on the likes of my TikTok, or if you want I can put it up as YouTube shorts or highlights. But that kind of burst is achieved when you have a 3-minute, or you have something like IQD, or alternatively, if we can get a higher item level version of it, the Instructor's Bell, and giving you that huge amount of mastery going forward. because having over 100% mastery while bursting with lust and everything else, your wings is going to slap. One bit of note for the other bosses, which you can see where I've got blue passes, so Soul Render, Guardian of the First Ones, Fate Scribe, and Sylvanas. Soul Render is a bit of an outlier in that I won't get particularly huge passing values for that fight because of the way the fight is designed. If you have something like a Blood Death Knight or Unholy Frost Death Knight that is Necrolord Covenant, so has Abomination Limb, you will be able to pass much higher holding your cooldowns for when the adds arrive. Because when the adds all get pulled in together and you drop a brand on them, they take increased damage, which if you pair that up with the likes of Final Reckoning, Divine Storms, and your Wings window, you could probably single-handedly deal the damage there. And everyone else just focuses the boss and cleaves, which is how a lot of Retribution Paladins are passing. For Guardian of the First Ones and Fate Scribe, however, it is partially positioning, and also, again, unfortunately, as was the first week with Guardian of the First Ones, we'll actually go into it, I didn't really get any healing. This particular pass would have been a lot better, but I was killed by the tank. Our tank proceeded to drop asunder on 3 of us. So Illidarity, Dubsnipe, and myself all got one shot. Because our tank had a lapse in judgment, and he admitted as much. So going into next week, when we next do it, my pass should be higher. And the boss kill will be somewhat faster as well. But the previous week, unfortunately, I just died to no healing. So if we go to thing and go to my death, you can see here that I got an earthen wall, but right, so I've got Spirit Link Totem come out here 11 seconds before my death. Couple of multiple heals, so I've got Cloudburst, Spirit Link, and Healing Rain. Where was my first direct heal? Or an actual spot heal? There wasn't one. I got Cleave healing throughout. So, Atonement healing from our healer. We then got Sober Council using a couple of Arcing Light from Hammer. Light of Dawn, which was 3000, but pretty much the majority of it was Leech, with myself having to use Divine Shield for a period of time because I was getting slapped around. But you know, can't be helped. So thankfully, or hopefully, Guardian of the First Ones will be improved somewhat. However, for Fate Scribe, I definitely need to improve my uptime on the ability to smack something. But much like the kind of cheesing of of Soul Render, the passing logs for Fate Scribe, because of how our guild does it, we detonate the adds and we use healing cooldowns to force through it. We have 2 Venthyr Paladins with Ashen Hollow. So we take the ad spawn and our tanks just detonate it, which causes a considerable amount of raid-wide damage, but we just raw put through it. The result of that is the small adds aren't spawned. So there is no point in that fight where we can AoE outside of the intermission phase once the 2 adds are together, which takes quite a while when you don't have a Death Knight in the raid team. So the result in terms of my DPS, as we'll have a quick look into RMS 38 for item level, it's not great, But as you can see, it is pretty much entirely single target. I was also using Bloodlink because I hadn't quite amassed my 3 stacks or my 3 unholy gems. I do now, so my DPS should be higher. Going into the next week as well, because our choice of domination set is the unholy one, because the amount of strength it gives when it procs is obscene. 600 strength once it's capped out, paired with our burst, is a bit bonkers, to be honest. We scale really well with strength. Although Bloodlink, there are current murmurings that for some fights in Mythic, primarily Guardians, it will be the best. Especially if you're progression focused, I would look to keeping your Bloodlink set available. Not necessarily max it out to top, but because of the amount of self-healing that it provides, so healing Bloodlink, you can see that I healed myself for 60,000 over the course of the fight. A fair amount, quite a lot of overhealing. But I also did 79k to other people. With 2 of the tanks getting a reasonable amount. It's passive healing, but it does help, especially on progression fights where it's single target and there is quite a high healing check. It may not necessarily be required once my guild gets there, because we will be considerably better geared than the World First Race was, but still. So, going back then to the other situations, Kel'Thuzad could do with some finessing for cooldown usage and ads, and maximizing that, because I did very nearly fluff up a cooldown. And hopefully try and break the 8k DPS mark. Terragru isn't worth any points because of the reliance with various anima powers. Now, this particular pass that I got just shy of 11,000 wasn't with great anima powers. I didn't have any strength-based increases, I didn't have the likes of Erratic Howler or the Dagger. I had 2 which were defensive-based, and 2 which were proc-based DPS or damaging abilities, which aren't great because end of the day we don't really want procs. We want something that's consistent, that can go towards increasing our burst, because we really need to lean into that. So something like strength or the mastery powers or haste, something that is persistent throughout the course of the entire fight would be ideal. As for the rest though, generally quite good, but we will need to look at working on our positioning still, because there were some things that I got clapped by that I shouldn't have, and we should also start looking to maximizing our cooldown efficiency, because as you can see, we are starting to get to the point where we are getting in 2 wing uses and that is it. And in some fights we are only just getting our 3rd cycle of 1 minute cooldowns. I suspect going into next week with more gear that will be even shorter, so I would not be entirely surprised to see a sub 3 minute remnant of Ner'zhul kill. So it will very much be a case of you get 2 uses of wings, 1 on pull, 1 off, and you need to maximize the ever-living crap out of it. So if you need to hold a cooldown for 10-15 seconds at this point, it may be worth holding so you have full uptime on the boss. And that is something I am going to have to work on going forward, because I do believe at one point during Fatescribe I ended up hitting my wings and then couldn't hit anything for 5 seconds, which when you've got wings up is problematic. So now we've covered the weekly logs and what I need to do to improve. My question for you guys would be whether or not you guys would be interested in seeing boss by boss playthrough guides. I can either pull them off my stream or I can record them separately, get myself into a pug and just go do them. where I discuss where I use my cooldowns and do a break-by-break play of it all. Obviously, I will probably discuss with my guild about uploading the videos of them, because what I could do is I could just not stream one raid night, a farm raid night, and we could just go and I'll record everything and upload them as the YouTube kill videos and link them to our guild as well. But we shall see. But yeah. So, as I was asking, if you guys would like to see proper raid focus content, please let me know. It'll be greatly appreciated. And if you've liked this video at all, please leave a like, a comment, and maybe even subscribe. Join the community. It'd be great to hit 100 subscribers. Let's see if we can catch up to my Twitch channel. And on that note, I will catch you all in the next one. Take care, folks. Have a good one.